Hi, friends. Mrs. Ford here. Today we're going to be talking about the cell theory, and we're also going to look at different parts of the cell. As always, before I get started, I want to remind you that these videos are a resource for you to be able to use in whatever way you see fit. If you feel like you need to pause and go back and hear something again, feel free to do so. You should be taking notes or have already taken notes on this material if you are reviewing it for the second time. Um, and yeah, again, so if you feel like you need to, feel free to pause, rewind, go listen to something again, or make notes and jot down questions you may have, and you can ask me when we're in class. Okay? So again, we're talking about the cell theory. We're going to talk about parts of the cell, why the cell is important, and we're also going to look at some functions of the cell. All right, so we have a couple of essential questions. Number one, what is the cell theory? Sounds much more complicated than what it is, I promise. And number two, what are similar functions of all cells? So all cells have some very basic functions that we can categorize them into, and we're going to talk about those in today's video. Okay, so first, let's talk about the cell. You see here we have a picture of a cell. This one just happens to be nice and rounded. We have a darkened area in the middle. We'll talk about what that is in just a moment. So the cell is the smallest structural and functional unit of an organism. So it's basically the smallest unit of life, okay? As tiny as life can get is a cell. Cells are usually microscopic, not always though. Sometimes we can see them with our own eyes without the help of a microscope, but usually for the most part, they are going to be microscopic. And inside the cell, you have the nucleus. So the nucleus is located in this darkened area right here that you can see on this example of a cell. And inside that darkened area, we have something called DNA, which is the instructions for how to create you. It's your genetic information. And we can break that genetic information down into other parts. So we have chromosomes. So chromosomes are basically tightly wound sections of DNA that fit nicely inside your nucleus. And then within the chromosomes, we have gene pairs, which we'll talk about here in a moment. Okay, so I want you to take a second and find this diagram. It's either, or it should be in your notebook. You've either already filled it out and this is just a review, or you are filling it out for the first time. Either way, I do want you to have this in front of you, and we'll go over it and we'll talk about it together. Okay? So for this first section here, letter A, this is just asking, what is this whole thing called? Okay? So this whole thing is called a cell. So C-E-L-L. B is asking about what this rounded area is called here. See, like the dotted line that goes around, it's containing the gray area. What is all of this called? Okay, so if you have nucleus written down, you would be correct. So this, for B, you're going to make sure you have nucleus written down. Now C is asking for these pink and blue kind of squiggly things here that we have. These are called your chromosomes. So for C, you should have chromosomes. And then you can see here on the right-hand side, basically what we've done is we've taken these chromosomes, a blue one and a pink one, and we've blown them up so you can kind of get a better look at them, and we can kind of explain what's inside the chromosomes. So for D, and D is looking at these darkened areas that are sectioned out on the chromosomes. These are going to be your gene pairs. Okay, so gene pairs are basically, it's exactly what it sounds like. It's a pair of genes that are coding for the same thing. So let's pretend this blue chromosome, this is a chromosome that you got from your dad, and this pink chromosome is a chromosome that you got from your mom. And on the chromosome you got from your dad, there is going to be a section on that chromosome that codes for your eye color. Let's just say. We'll use eye color as an example. So this section on the blue chromosome codes for your eye color, for eye color. And then your mom also gave you a chromosome, and on her chromosome, there's also a section that codes for eye color. Now, we have two sets of DNA that code for eye color. These are going to be called your gene pairs. They're pairs that are coding for the same gene. Okay? Then we have E is left. Now, E is asking about all of the squiggly stuff that it seems to be inside of the chromosome. And all of the squiggly stuff is called DNA. And DNA basically is a long string of proteins, and it's a genetic code that basically makes you who you are. It's kind of like your instruction manual. Okay. All right, so the cell has a few different functions that we're going to talk about. Mitosis. So in 7th grade, I know you guys went over mitosis, and you talked about how the purpose of mitosis is for growth and repair. I want to touch on these for a moment. So think about this. So growth increases in size. So it makes you grow, or it makes any living thing grow in size or increase in size. When you're first born, you're a little baby, right? Probably 8, 9 pounds. You're pretty tiny. Your parents can hold you in their arms very easily. They can carry you around. Well, now when you're 13, 14 years old, not so much, right? You're much larger than you were when you were first born. So mitosis is what helps you grow and continue to grow in size. Okay. Mitosis also helps you repair damaged cells. So let's say that you are riding your skateboard and you fall off and you scrape up your knees pretty bad. Now, are your knees just doomed to always be scraped up and, be bloody and scabbed? No. Your body's going to heal and repair those damaged cells, because when you fell, you damaged your skin cells, right? So your body's going to go into repair mode, and mitosis is going to happen to replace those cells that you damaged. And then in a week or two or a couple weeks, your knee or arm or whatever you scratched or scraped should be back to normal. Okay, meiosis is the second type of cell division, and this is primarily used in reproduction. So this produces offspring, either sexually or asexually. This is responsible for creating the egg and the sperm cells. So egg cells would be found in women, and sperm cells would be found in men. Okay, so the Amoeba Sisters have a really, really cool YouTube video on mitosis and meiosis, and it kind of shows you what's happening in each step side by side. So I do encourage you to go and watch this video. Maybe take a second, pause, click on the link, go find this Amoeba Sisters video, and then come back to me. Okay?